Just because someone looks strong doesn't mean they're not carrying something heavy. And I want to talk about that today because I think a lot of people watching this, especially women at this stage of life, have spent years being the strong one, the one who keeps smiling, the one who encourages everyone else, the one who says, I'm fine, even when they're anything but. And I know that person because for a very long time, that person was me. And I know a lot of people like that. I can just give you an example of my mum. I went to the doctors with her to see her GP. She'd hurt her neck or her back. She wasn't sure. She was in absolute agony. She could hardly walk, and she'd been topping up with anti-inflammatories and painkillers for nearly 3 months. We get into the doctors. She sits down, and the doctor says to her, "And how are you feeling today?" And she smiles at the doctor and she says, "Doctor, I feel wonderful, thank you." Hi, if you're new here, my name is Leslie and welcome to my channel. I came online after losing my husband and I was looking for a purpose more than anything else. That grew into an online business which I still ran alongside my state pension. And I share this chapter of life honestly, the grief, the retirement reality, the things that nobody prepares you for, and what it actually looks like to keep going when keeping going is the hardest thing in the world. Now, there's a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from being the strong one. And it's not a physical tiredness, it's the tiredness of holding everything together for everyone else while quietly carrying your own weight on top of it all. And the strange thing about being seen as strong is that people stop asking if you're okay because you always seem okay. You answer the phone cheerfully, you show up, you get things done, you offer support to others without being asked. And so people assume that you're managing and that you don't need checking in on. And they assume that because you never complain, there must be nothing to complain about. But strength doesn't mean you never get tired. It doesn't mean that you don't feel overwhelmed at times. And it certainly doesn't mean there aren't days when you close the door, sit down quietly, and just wonder. And you feel that full weight of everything you've been carrying. It just means really that you're very good at not showing it. People have said to me so many times over the last few years, "Leslie, you're so strong. I don't know how you do it." And I appreciate the kindness behind it. I genuinely do. But the honest truth is, what's the alternative? Roll over and die? I'm not old. I have two beautiful adult children I love very deeply. I have my mum, who is nearly 90, who I love to visit, who I actually think still needs me. And I have two cats, Lizzie and Winston, who have absolutely no interest in my emotional state unless their food bowl is empty. Life doesn't pause because you're grieving. People still need you, cats still need feeding, the world still keeps moving. And it's surreal at times, it really is, because you're stuck here in like a time warp. But because the world is still moving, you have to move with it. And it's not because you're extraordinarily strong, but because the people and the creatures you love give you a reason to keep going, even on the days when you'd rather not. And that's not strength, how I think of strength. That's love, doing what love does. When Philip died, I carried a lot quietly, not because I wanted to, but because that was the role I'd always played. The capable one, the one who sorts things out, the one who manages. And widowhood tested that in ways I could never have anticipated, because suddenly there was no one to be strong for in the same way, and there was no one to be strong for me either. All those decisions dropped in my lap, the finances, all the practical realities that had to be dealt with. And the grief itself, which doesn't announce itself politely, but arrives at the worst possible moments and demands to be felt whether you're ready or not. I remember days when I intentionally, cheerfully went with other people. I was present and engaged. and I was asking questions and listening to answers. And inside, I was carrying something I hadn't told anyone, not because I didn't want to, but because I didn't want to burden people. I didn't want them to see me struggling. And I didn't want to shatter that version of me that everyone expected to hold it together. And I can tell you, looking back now, that's a lonely way to live. But I think many women at this stage of life will recognize it. And I wanted to say something about listening because I think we underestimate it enormously. And I don't mean the kind of listening where someone is already forming their response while you're still talking, but not the kind where they immediately try to fix it or minimize it. I'm in trouble with that word, minimize it, or compare it to something that happened to them. And that happens so often. Oh, Leslie, how are things going? I say what I'm doing or what's happening, and they go off at a tangent about something similar that's happening to them. And that's not real listening. I'm talking about the kind where someone simply makes space for what you're feeling without rushing it anyway. Sometimes healing begins the moment someone says, I'm here. Tell me what's on your mind. Not, here's what you should do. Not, at least you have this or that. Just, I'm here. And I have a family telling me what I should do and what I shouldn't do and why I should do it. And if I don't do it, this will be the things that work. And that's not what family are for. I think the only person that truly relates to how I feel is my mum, because 6 months ago she was recently widowed, and suddenly everything has just been an eye-opener for her. But those people that say, I'm here, well, I've experienced that in the unexpected places since coming online, in the conversations with people I've never met in person, in a community of women who I believe are navigating similar things: grief, retirement, uncertainty, the question of what comes next. And what I found is that being heard, even by strangers who genuinely care, it changes something. And it doesn't fix the grief. Nothing fixes the grief. I can promise you that. But it reminds you that you don't have to carry everything alone. I've come to believe that asking for help or simply admitting that you're struggling is one of the bravest things a person can do, especially when you spent years being the strong one, because it goes against everything you've trained yourself to be. For me, it felt like weakness, and it felt like I was letting people down. But it's also shattering that image that took years to build. But it isn't a weakness, it's honesty, and honesty takes more courage than pretending. Downsizing was the most heartbreaking period. I thought I was letting go of my past, of all my special memories, of everything that connected me to the life Philip and I had built together. And it was painful, and it was hard, and a few really good friends came in and helped me sort out parting with some of those possessions. I don't think I could have done it on my own. But since then, I've realized something. That house that I loved, that Philip and I loved, and all that stuff were not my memories. My memories came with me. They're here in my new home, in those quiet moments, and in the photographs that I've got all around me. The things I chose to bring with me, the reasons that I chose them. And now, without the financial burden of a property I couldn't afford to maintain, and with a pension coming in every month, the pressure is gone. Something has changed because of that. I've been able to open my heart again, to let those memories come back in, not as something painful to be managed, but as something precious to be held. Because in order to cope emotionally through the hardest years, I had to build a wall, thick and high, to distance myself from the full weight of what I was feeling. But I can say very positively, retirement is chipping away at that wall slowly and is starting to give me space and perspective. It's given me the ability to step back and start looking at my life from a different angle. And what I'm beginning to find when I look is that I'm actually still there, still standing, still capable of feeling something other than grief. And that feels like the beginning of something. I guess I'm stronger now than I've ever been, and I know that. But I'm also more willing to say today was hard. Today I needed someone to listen. Today I couldn't carry it all with a smile. And there have been many days like that. But that combination, the strength and honesty existing together, is something I never quite managed before. And widowhood has taught me that the hard way. When I built my online business, I didn't set out to build a community. I was trying to find something to focus on, something that was mine, and something that would distract me from all the unpleasantness that I was trying to deal with on a day-to-day basis. But what I found in coming online, very unexpectedly, I mean, I wasn't sure what to expect, but it was people, women who were navigating similar things, women who were showing up quietly in my comments and my messages and said, I needed to hear this today. Oh, I thought I was the only one who felt like this. And that mattered more than any milestone, because being the person who creates a space when someone feels less alone, that is something worth building. If you've been the strong one for too long, if you've been carrying more than you've let on, I want you to know something. You're allowed to put some of it down. You're allowed to say it's been hard and to let someone listen. And if you ever want a corner of the internet where honest conversations happen about retirement, about grief, about building something new later in life, you are so very welcome here. The strongest people still need someone to listen to, not to fix it, not to minimize it, just to be there. Never underestimate the power of your presence in someone's life. A kind message, a genuine question is amazing, and it's a moment of real attention. Your presence could be exactly what someone needs today. And sometimes, in my opinion, the bravest thing you can do after years of holding everything together is simply let someone in. If this video resonated with you, please give it a like and hit the subscribe button to follow along with my journey. And if you know someone that might need to hear this message today, please share it. Now, if you're curious about how I built an online community and an income alongside my state pension, the link is in the description below. Take a look in your own time, absolutely no pressure, and I'll see you on the next one.